Let's go through some of the questionables as limited participants in practice listed as questionable for the Browns on Sunday. Odell Beckham, Grant Delpit, Jadeveon Clowney, Ronnie Harrison, who did practice today, J.C. Tretter, all listed as questionable for the game, which according to NFL means they're 50-50 to play. It also could mean that these players are in somewhat of a snap count.
I think for every single player that comes into the game, they have to be ready to play the whole game. But we as coaches and as a medical staff make sure that we have guys are ready to do whatever they're capable to do. So to answer your question, yes, there's a bunch of guys that you look at and you say, all right, he can go this many plays based on this.
When Tat came back, was it pretty quick for him to get to where you wanted to see physically?
Yeah, I think he's done a nice job out there, Zach. I think just how attentive he is at the walkthroughs in the meeting room, coming out here in the practice field, playing really fast. He's done a nice job.
Kevin Stefanski talking about Takk McKinley and all the questionable guys potentially being on snap counts. Let's welcome in Jeff Risdon from BrownsWire.com. Jeff, again, most of these guys likely to play, but if they haven't played in a preseason game and, you know, you're any doubt at all, you always err on the side of telling your opponent, yeah, they're not going to be out there.
It gives the Chiefs one more thing to worry about, or two more things, or three more things, depending on how many players there are. Absolutely. The big name for me is J.C. Tretter. He's the one guy that they can't replace and still feel good about their chances against the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs' defensive front is very good. You got to have your starting center in there. So let's hope that Tretter can go, and that he is one of the guys that's not on the snap count or pitch count, or however you want to phrase it. You need your starting center in there. He is a guy who makes a lot of the line calls too, and there is a significant drop off between him and what would replace him, be it Harris or Dawn or whatever they would try to do to shuffle that around. So he's the key one for me. Everything I've gathered is that he will be ready to go, barring any setbacks at the last minute. You know, Odell Beckham, I think we kind of expect him to be on a reduced snap count. You don't necessarily need him to be out there for 70 reps. If he can play, 45 to 50 or something like that. They have Donovan Peoples-Jones who can fill in that role capably from what we saw in the preseason. So I think they don't have to necessarily rush it back with Odell. They can sort of, keep him on the limited role and be okay with that. And the same with Clowney, who looked very good in the video that you showed there. He certainly didn't look sick to me. That's a very good sign of recovery for him. And if you've got Takk McKinley back as well, you've got the ability built in there to rotate those guys in and out. You have Malik McDowell that can play out there. You can have Malik Jackson that can move around. They have a lot of flexibility with that defensive line. So I'm not too super concerned about that. Again, if it is a case where they're only playing, half the game or a third of the game, whatever a designated snap count, I think other than Tretter, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, and Tretter is a guy that, he always seems to answer the bell no matter, how banged up he is.
He played through that high ankle sprain a couple of years ago where he almost couldn't walk onto the field, and then he was still solid at center. So I'm trusting in JC to be fine.